Shalom, I'm Officer Jadiel of IUIC, and I'm here to let you Afro-Iraqis know that you are the Israelites. Islam is not your religion, and the culture you've been given has been forced upon you over many generations. When you look at Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, it explains what will happen to the Israelites and how they will be spread across the earth. The issues you face in your community of poverty, of oppression, of not being represented in government are all documented in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. Today we're going to look at that. And we're going to show you that this Bible is your book and you must come back to keeping God's laws, statutes, and commandments. Before we start, let's go to Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies, and the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. The Afro-Iraqis have kindled a fire in God's anger because they are not keeping God's laws. They have lost their heritage today. And everything that they believe to be their heritage has been forced upon them or pushed upon them by Arabs, by the people who have conquered you and enslaved you over time. But we're here to erase those lies and tell you the truth of who you are according to the Bible. We're going to jump over now and we're going to read Luke chapter 21 and verse 20. And let's see how the Afro-Iraqis ended up in Africa. What happened because Christ prophesied of you all fleeing into the mountains. It's the book of Luke chapter 21 and verse 20. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. The Israelites scattered deeper into Africa during 70 AD, when they were conquered. Christ said flee into the mountains, and that refers to deeper into Africa. So the Afro-Iraqis are individuals, the Israelites, who scattered when they were conquered in 70 AD. And what happened after that? You all were scattered, and then this happened. Psalms chapter 106 and verse 35. Let's read that. And it says, but were mingled among the heathen and learned their works. Verse 36, and they served their idols, which were a snare unto them. So when you all were scattered, you started to worship idols, not the God of the Bible. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28 now, and let's see. What did God say would happen if you serve those idols? Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 15. Let's read it. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. God said if you did not keep his commandments, if you broke them, that you would be cursed. And one of those curses was Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 29. We're going to read that now. It says, and thou shalt grope at noondays as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. Let's go over to this article now. Afro-Iraqi rituals, stigma, discrimination, and resilience. It says Afro-Iraqi people make up 5% of the Iraqi population, 42 million. And Iraq has been their home since the 9th century, mostly as part of the forced immigration due to the slave trade. Throughout their history, Afro-Iraqis have been subjected to oppression, racism, and discrimination. So if you look at the history of the Afro-Iraqis, it is plagued with these things, with discrimination, with racism, with lack of representation through our government, with poverty. God said you would only be oppressed and spoiled evermore. Discrimination and racism against Afro-Iraqis in particular and Afro-Arabs is, in general, are unfortunately rooted in Arab culture and are informed by a long history of negative representation. Iraqi society looks down upon Afro-Iraqis and portrays them and their rituals with appropriate stereotypes. So the Afro-Iraqis are constantly oppressed. Now we're going to look at this article, Living in the Shadows, the Enduring Marginalization of Black Iraqis. God said in the verse that we read in verse 29 that no man would save you. So let's read this. It says, emerging leaders within the Black Iraqi community have been harassed and even killed by fellow Iraqis for their political activism. In 2013, Jalal Dayab, the Black Iraqi founder of Ansar al-Huraya, Movement of the Free Iraqis, was assassinated after his organization supported 2 Black Iraqi candidates for provincial election. One of whom was also targeted for assassination. So what it tells you is that no man will ever be able to rise up, because when they do, they are killed by the people who claim that they are their brothers. If you all worship Islam, why are you being murdered? Why are you being killed when you try to stand up for the rights of your people? It's because God said no man will be able to rise up and save you. Now let's jump over to Deuteronomy chapter 28, and we're going to read verse 64.